All right, hey everyone. So we've spent some time talking about competitive strategy options. We walked through these five different competitive strategies that we want to become familiar with. And as we wrap up this topic today, I just wanted to provide a little bit of insight for you and your simulation teams about some things to consider, just because this competitive strategy and understanding where you position yourself is extremely important for businesses, and understanding what the value is that we provide people and where we, I guess, where we would place ourselves on that quadrant map we've looked at about competitive strategies. So I want to give you just some questions to be considering so that you and your team can talk about them and understand, so that you have a clear sense of what your competitive strategy is in the business strategy game, and you can then make decisions that are then informed by your placement on the competitive strategy map. So some things for you to consider, just to think over a little bit, and feel free, please use all of these questions and just kind of discuss them a little bit with your team when you have an opportunity, is just begin having a short conversation about what kind of generic competitive strategy that you're currently pursuing. Do you all have the idea about exactly what kind of value you're providing? Because if one of you thinks that you want to, be a low cost provider, while the other one is a differentiator among some product or attribute or expansion that you're doing with your company in the simulation, well, you're obviously going to have differing ideas about what kind of decisions you should be making. So try to figure out if you all understand the generic competitive strategy you've agreed upon, or if you haven't, start having the conversation about which one you'd like to employ. So I guess the rest of these are questions if you feel like you're not quite sure what generic strategy, or you're kind of like, I'm not quite sure, let me look around for some evidence. Just try to find like 3 specific things that you've done that you think give kind of a signal that that is the type of competitive strategy. Are you often looking for ways to undercut? Are you often trying to drive price down and be the lowest cost provider in that sense? Well, you might be a cost leader in that sense, right? Do you have any hard evidence that would indicate that you've been, implementing that successfully? Are you getting more bids because you're the cheapest product? Or what is it that you might be able to find in those reports? If you're at that point where we've already ran a report already, just try to look for some things that might give evidence that you know what you're doing and it's working successfully, right? So just kind of look at some of those things in the industry reports, especially the comparative efforts reports and those things. Those will give you a lot of information as to how you're stacking up against some of your competitors right now. Now, as you are crafting and testing whatever this strategy ends up being, just keep in mind, continue to look at the strategies or the decisions that some of your rivals here in our industry and our course are making, and see how are you performing against them. Try to use those as like benchmarks to see, what are they doing? What kind of outcomes are they realizing? Are they doing better than us? Are they doing worse than us? Or what are we doing maybe better? Or what could we adjust that might be more aligned with the success that they're seeing, if there's somebody that's really doing well at this point. So continually think about ways you can adjust your competitive strategy or some of the decisions that you're making if something's not working well for you. And then just think about some of the rest of these questions that I've got here, specifically this last one. Are you super competitive or committed early on to your competitive strategy? Is it low cost or nothing? I don't want to be a differentiator kind of situation. If it's not working, maybe you should start looking at how many other people are pursuing that same kind of strategy. Is there space for another cost leader, or is there beginning to be space opening up on that competitive clustering map we've talked about earlier on? I'll update you after every round where you're sitting competitively if there are open spaces on that map. It may be time to start considering whether or not we shift our competitive strategy to try and take advantage of one of those open spaces where we may not have very many competitors around us. So as you continue to craft it, you continue to think about the decisions that you're making. Just continue to watch, like what number of people are pursuing each of these kinds of strategies. Is there maybe opportunities that are, underutilized within your industry? Are there no broad differentiators right now? Well, why not? Why can't we shift there and take advantage of that open space, right? Just continually watching. Those comparative analysis reports are super important. They will tell you about where you're sitting compared to other people, and just continually watch those moves that your rivals are taking, your closest competitors in that competitive map, and make sure that you're just trying to do something that is hopefully informed by the type of strategy that you've chosen in order to just, I guess, try and make the right decision, and try and find some way that you can either, like, make yourself a little different or give yourself a leg up price wise based off of whichever of these competitive strategies you've employed. So just as a wrap up, again, these were the different strategies, some of the overviews of some of the things we talked about here. We've exhausted these pretty greatly by this point, but just remember, our successful strategies are going to rely, like it says here, on an appropriate set of resources, know-hows, and competitive abilities. So we want to continually revisit what competitive strategy that we're taking while we're doing this simulation, and continue to ask ourselves, is this the right one for us? Is it something we can shift to? Is it time to shift? How many people are employing a similar strategy? Just kind of continually reassessing where we're sitting, what the approach we've taken is, and whether or not it's best for us moving forward. And hey, good luck on it.